Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Crystal, the Crystalline Priestess, intuitive evolutionary astrologer and psychic tarot reader, and today we have the weekend horoscope for Saturday the 7th of September and Sunday the 8th of September 2024. So my loves, this feels like a really open opportunity, I will say, I suppose, over this weekend for healing. It feels as though even though we have a lot of intense transits that we're building into, with the sun being in an opposition with Saturn, and over this weekend he's getting stronger because the sun gets to 15 degrees on Sunday. So Saturn being at 16 degrees of Pisces and the sun being at 15 degrees of Virgo means that we are really feeling it over this weekend. We're feeling some of the pressure, we're feeling some of the responsibility, but for me it's really feeling like this is a healing opportunity, because as we're actually expanding into our acceptance of the responsibility that we're needing to take on at this point in our lives, it feels as though it's actually offering us an expanded awareness into where we're able to now take this newfound sense of power, I think, individually into the next chapter. You know, we have Pluto back in Capricorn for the next 2 months now. So this is really an opportunity for us to ground in the changes that we have been building up over the past few months into this point. We've had a lot of energy over the past few months that has really been asking for us to get clear on our strategies and our structures, and with this sun moving into an opposition with Saturn over this weekend, and it's going to be exact on Monday, Tuesday, so we're really feeling it, especially over these 4 days, 5 days, even after the conjunction. We're still feeling this quite intense pressure point. And so this pressure point is going to be asking for us to really pay attention to where it is that we're feeling overwhelmed. And I feel like overwhelm is definitely something coming up. With the sun in Virgo, we can feel very overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we have to do, you know, too many things on our plate. So it's really about having a system, creating a system and organizing yourself in a way that allows you to be able to get more done, but in a way that leaves you less frazzled. We have a really beautiful connections here between Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. All three of these outer planets are all making some really subtle subconscious connections to each other, which in my astrological opinion feels as though it's a really subtle subconscious calling from spirit for a lot of humanity to really, I think, become aware of where we're really needing to trust in our spiritual work more than ever. It feels as though with Pisces, you know, the sun being in opposition with Saturn in Pisces, this is the collective, this is humanity really needing to understand where spirituality fits in our day-to-day lives, because I feel like a lot of us over the past 4 years especially have gone through a lot of wake-up calls, and a lot of spiritual wake-up calls at that, because we had to collectively see where the cracks have been. Capricorn, you know, 29 degrees of Capricorn is really a fucking boom. You know, 29 degrees of any planet is intense. 0 and 29 degrees is always the most intense. And so 29 degrees of Pluto is, you couldn't really have more intensity than a 29 degree Pluto. So the fact that we've had Neptune at 29 degrees and she's just moved back into 28 degrees, and we also have Uranus now at 27 degrees, this is 3 outer planets with very high degrees. So for me, it just feels as though this weekend is offering us an opportunity, especially with the moon being in Libra, and it makes an opposition to Chiron, and it's sort of, you know, it has us having to have a little bit of an honest moment with ourselves, it feels to me. An honest moment where we actually communicate to ourselves some of these things that we might have been, you know, keeping in. It feels as though this is with the moon's opposition with Chiron over the weekend, and then the moon moves into Scorpio and starts to trine over with Mars, who's just moved into Cancer. So I feel as though this weekend is giving us an opportunity to see where specific actions are really growing and expanding us. We have the Page of Wands and the Six of Cups coming out, and I actually really love this energy, this combination, because it feels as though this is a very childlike, a very, you know, excitable vibe. You know, the what's it called? The Page of Wands and the Six of Cups is really about receiving a message from almost maybe your inner child, or receiving a message maybe even from someone from the past, or just having with the Sun opposing Saturn as well, you could be having something come up over the weekend where you get some sort of recognition of the work that you've put in for where you are right now. And even though you might not be, and I've said this a lot, especially with the Sun opposing Saturn, none of us are where we want to be just yet, but it's really feeling as though we're well and truly on the way. And it's almost like, I feel like with this Sun opposing Saturn, it's about being proud of ourselves and excited about what we've had to overcome and achieve in order to get here. I feel like we're really growing up into this version of ourselves that's actually a lot more abundant and creative and playful, and is accepting that within ourselves, But the Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces, this is us really, as it's building this weekend, this is us really kind of clearing the cobwebs about understanding where it is that, where our dreams are welcome and where reality really needs to be focused on, where reality really needs to be, I don't know how to explain it, like just paid attention to. It's really giving me like, with Saturn in Pisces, this can very much be this tendency to maybe not want to face what's physically actually happening around you or in your environment. And so I feel as though this weekend is the weekend of, facing things, getting to work, cleaning out the cupboards, doing those physical things that are actually going to help you feel as though you're making progress. Progress feels like it's a word for this weekend, but it also feels as though just acceptance is a word that's coming up as well. So we also have the good old Mercury square Uranus that is also back over this weekend. So it's going to be exact on Saturday. It's going to move off that square on Sunday, and then he's going to be moving back towards that Yod point, which we've spoken about a lot. So it feels as though this is a weekend of finding clarity. Clarity is definitely the aim of the game. I feel as though that Mars square that we had with Neptune last week was definitely hard for us to kind of get the ball rolling in certain areas, and it feels as though over this weekend with this Sun opposition to Saturn, it feels as though things are still moving slowly, but it feels like we have more control. And when I say control, I kind of don't even mean like being in complete control of what it is that you're doing, but more so being in control of how you're reacting, how you're emotionally making decisions, how you're emotionally moving forward, especially because when the moon moves into Scorpio and it makes that trine over there with Mars, this is us really needing to have our emotions and our actions in alignment, not taking, oh my God, I'm sorry about those dogs. I hate those dogs with my whole heart. This is like so Mars. The thing is, I love dogs. Like there's a Six of Cups on here as well. So we've got dogs coming up over this weekend. So that's the thing actually with Virgo. Virgo rules animals, pets and things. So there could be things with our pets coming up over the weekend, and with the opposition to Saturn. Just be careful. If you've got a wild dog that likes to go running, just be careful about this weekend. And we have the Tower and the Hermit coming out. So maybe keep your dog at home. But this is just like, if somebody out there could have something come up with your dog over this weekend, or your cat, or just any of your pets. But the Hermit and the Tower is an interesting energy to sort of just be falling out. It feels as though something might come up this weekend, and Virgo actually rules the Hermit. So something might actually come up this weekend that sort of has you trusting and feeling into your own personal guidance. And so that's that Sun opposition with Saturn, that to me embodies this feeling that the Hermit has, where it's really about being in this receptive state of listening to spirit and genuinely being in this place where you're ready to take on the next lesson. It feels as though this is giving me like a little bit of a student archetype, even, where it feels as though it's like I'm ready to take on the next step now. I feel like with this Sun opposition with Saturn, it feels very strong in the sense that we're finally taking stock and taking responsibility and taking almost even advantage of the work that we need to do. And this feels like gearing up, I'm literally seeing a rally car driver like getting up in all his gear and just sort of like suiting up. So I love it. And then we have the gambler archetype. Sorry guys, I literally just got back from swimming at the pool. I swam like over 1 kilometer, and like I'm only fresh getting into swimming, and I'm a little bit exhausted, and that's very much Saturn opposition with the sun. I did what I had to do, and I did my routine that made me feel amazing, but I am exhausted, you know? So there is this feeling of, you know, things being really exciting and moving forward and feeling really good, but also still being really tiring because there's a lot of work and effort that we're needing to put in. So the gambler archetype says willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. The shadow attribute is relying on luck rather than hard work, and that's very much Sun opposing Saturn. Between Virgo and Pisces, this is, yes, trusting in the intuition, following the intuition and letting your intuition 100% guide the way, but also knowing when you need to put in the work, because the work is what's going to help you actually get, you know, 10 million steps ahead. If you're just trying to rely on luck to get you anywhere at this point, but the Sun is opposition with Saturn over this weekend, luck is going to get you absolutely nowhere. That's the thing as well with the crazy Libra stellium that we had throughout the week with the Moon, Venus, Lilith, and the South Node. This past week that we just had could have really had you wanting to sort of not give up, but wanting to take the easy road like I spoke to, and to just sort of like try something easier on a whim. And so this weekend is really showing you where if you made a decision spontaneously like that, it's probably going to fucking blow up in your face. But if you stuck to your guns and you've stuck to where it is you're going, and you're, you know, slow and steady wins the race, you know, you're going to find that with this Sun opposition with Saturn, it's actually going to help you build more courage, and it's going to help you build more stamina to actually continue grinding this path out. We also have the bully archetype out here that says highlights your tendency to oh my god, I cannot speak. Highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. The shadow attribute is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So with the Six of Wands, Six of Cups coming out and the Page of Wands, I feel as though there might, and with that Hermit too, it feels as though maybe as a child you could have been bullied for what it is that you're not even trying to achieve now, but it feels as though maybe some bullying had an effect on the way you actually perceived your capacity to do certain things. An example is me swimming. You know, I didn't get bullied about swimming or anything as a kid, but I had some shitty, very, very shitty things happen with sport in general, and not being a very sporty kid, and it was just a mess. It was just a horrible thing. And so I hated sport with my whole heart and soul, passion, because of the bully thing. So the external voices of the bullies that got to me then have been the internal voices that stopped me my entire adult life from getting back in the pool or doing any sport for that fact. And so it's taken, you know, Saturn actually being on my Sun. I've told you guys, like, I have 15-degree Pisces Sun, and look where Saturn is. So, you know, Saturn 16 degrees, that hurts. Saturn's about to hit me again. So it's taken this long for Saturn actually to get here to say it's time to confront the inner fears that bully you, so that they no longer hold you back from actually going for what it is that you want. And this is the Mercury square Uranus that we have this weekend as well. It's very much spontaneous healing when it comes to deciding what your heart really truly loves. You know, Mercury and Leo energy is all about, it has to feel good, it has to feel fun, it has to feel like it's actually aligned with the soul, and it has to feel like it's a deep love. And it's not so much passion, because passion, I actually believe, is built. Passion is something that grows over time. Passion doesn't just come out of your ass. Passion is built, and that's the thing with Saturn. It grows the more you feed it. So it feels as though, you know, you feeding these more difficult activities that you've been doing, you feeding into these new ways of structuring your life and structuring yourself and all these things, is actually really helping for you to build confidence. And that's the thing with the Sun opposition with Saturn. This is about needing to build confidence to go for long-term desires and long-term goals. So let's just get a animal archetype for the weekend. Then I'm going to leave this reading here. Make sure that you check out the daily horoscopes. I've got Astro Tea Weekly that's going to be up on Sunday as well. Yeah, and then there's just going to be, I'm going to upload the daily horoscopes, I think, at around 2 p.m. for the next day, each day. So every day the horoscope's actually going to be the day ahead. So that should stop me from being so kind of chaotic and confused. So guys, the animals that we have, and I just heard Eye of the Tiger when I saw this, is the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up through the challenge of our rivals. And the last new survivor stalks his prey in the night, and he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Boom, 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 boom. Seriously, rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. I don't even know the words, but you get the gist, okay? You get the gist. Don't let the inner fears bully you from going for what it is that you want. And this weekend is what's going to make sure that that's an impossibility. My elbow just knocked another card off, and look what we had fly out. Lion. Courage. I mean, cheerfulness and pride, but I heard perseverance and courage. So it's keep pushing on. We have two big cats out here. Willpower and passion with cheerfulness and pride. And like we spoke to about this Mercury square Uranus over the weekend, it's really about letting these beautiful ideas come through, about having these wake-up calls, new perspectives, new perceptions, all these sorts of things, allowing them to actually shine through, because we've got a lot of subconscious support, I think, from spirit at the moment. I just heard nature. So nature could feel really supportive over this weekend too. But just there's a lot of subconscious support over this weekend to help us ground this spiritual growth into our reality with this Sun opposition with Saturn. We also had Salmon, resilience and life cycle, which is very much Saturn energy, because Saturn is cycles. Saturn moves in 7-year cycles. So you'll notice, say how people say they get the 7-year itch. It's always to do with Saturn and Venus, but Saturn essentially takes 7 years to hit your chart in a different way than he hit you last time. So when you're 7 years old, you have your first ever Saturn square from when you were born. And then when you're 14 years old, you have your first ever Saturn opposition, which is what we're going through with the Sun opposition Saturn this weekend, where Saturn, transiting Saturn, is opposing your natal Saturn. So when you're 14, 15, 16, things usually get a bit gnarly. Something happens around then. And then the next one is when you're 21, 22, 23. Give and take these ages, because obviously everyone's chart is different. So it might happen at 20 for someone, or 22 for someone else, and 21 for someone else. So just keep that in mind. But Saturn always revisits in cycles. And that's why when you're 28, 29, 30, Saturn comes back. And that's what they call your Saturn return. So that's the first time he returns back to your chart from when you were a kid. So Saturn cycles are extremely important in our lives. And with the Sun opposing Saturn building over this weekend, this is a weekend where we're really seeing these cycles of life that we're actually in and that we've moved through. We're really seeing the importance of different chapters and different cycles and different seasons, as well. I feel as though with this opposition, it feels as though the best way that we could be mastering how we're actually, going about our daily routine and our daily lives is seasonally. What season of life are you personally in, but what season are you also in environmentally? Remember, Jupiter is in Gemini, and Jupiter is starting to slow down. He's not in an exact square with Saturn anymore, which is lovely, but there is still this sign, this signal sort of square, and also he's really not that many degrees away. So it is still this understanding that we're needing to build between our reality and God, and trusting the information that we're receiving, and just learning to be in an environment that feels conducive and healthy to us, rather than with all the Libra getting lost in ideals and ways of being and aesthetics. Like I said, like in last week's readings, getting caught up in an image that you want to portray or that you want to look like. This is not about being an image. This is about being your genuine self. So, my loves, I'm going to leave this reading there. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. Fantastic vibes. It is going to be, hopefully, a fabulous weekend of healing. I will drop in with Astro Tea weekly on Sunday, so do stay tuned for that. And also, obviously, we're going to have a daily horoscope every day next week. I'm a bit slow on my picker cards because, if I'm honest with you guys, trying to work out how to get all this content created and edited and uploaded, and also I'm in the process of completely taking down my grandma's house. Like, I have 3 more months to get this house completely emptied and everything sold and everything done and blah, blah, blah. So I have completely done the Sun opposing Saturn thing, and I have got way too much on my plate that I can even fucking comprehend. So we're all dealing with this stuff. This is a weekend for me to get my shit hopefully together. So that's the schedule at the moment. It's going to change. I am still very much in my Saturn era, where the Saturn shit is not done with me. I have a lot of learning to do. So my loves, I do hope that you enjoyed this. Please give it a like if it resonated, and comment down below anything that's going on with you. If you want to share anything about what's been happening astrologically, or whether it's hitting any of your placements, anything like that, my loves, do make sure that you check out your channeled song. I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments, for allowing me to receive and to deliver this powerful message to you. If you would like to book a personal tarot or astrology reading with me, you can hit up my link tree down below. It's got all the details there, because my website is currently down, so you'll have to hit up my link tree. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.